This is Sky Blues Extra.
Hello and welcome to another Sky Blues Extra Live. Coventry City have recorded their first win of the championship season. They've beat QPR 3-2, a nerve-wracking game, back and forth, but Coventry City have recorded 3 points in the championship. A fantastic result, a fantastic display and performance, and tactically by Mark Robins as well, who could have made a snapshot decision to start ringing the changes, but he didn't. The Sky Blues stuck to their guns, and Dean, what a display, and in front of the Sky cameras.
Yeah, I mean, just absolutely. I'm just ecstatic to get on the board. You know, we needed that 3 points. The display last week was just outstanding, and to come away from Bristol with absolutely nothing in our pockets was a bit of a travesty, in all honesty. But yeah, I mean, to have 3 points in our pockets now, I'm absolutely buzzing.
Of course, and of course we're live. We really want to hear from you Sky Blues fans, because a massive result, and already we've got one from Michael buzzing. I think we all are. It's a result that we deserve this evening. I don't think that QPR set up fairly negative, I think, at times. The Sky Blues were able to get on the ball very early, Dean, and knock that ball around and really felt quite comfortable at times. The 3 points didn't ever seem in doubt, did they?
I don't think they did second half. I mean, first half was a little bit dodgy. I won't lie. It was a little bit weird, wasn't it? You know, it was kind of like the role reversal of Bristol last week.
Yeah.
First half we were in total domination and the ascendancy the whole half, but this week was a totally different manner, and we're going to get that this season. But there's going to be times where we're going to be under the cosh, and we've got to sort of play differently and just take our chances when we can. And obviously we got that chance towards the end of the first half, and what a great move that was. That was probably the first time that we sort of linked up really well in that final third.
Yeah.
And Giles' ball in was absolutely quality, first class ball.
Yeah, he's a guy that I think today had an extremely good game.
Man of the match for me.
Sometimes he seems to be playing as a left forward and seems to be playing on even further past Godden's shoulder at times, which is peculiar, and a lot of City fans at home will be thinking the same. But he started to get growing confidence, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that first game against Milton Keynes, I mean, we alluded to it. He was a little bit nervous in that first 10 minutes out of position, but since then, he's coming to his own in that position.
Yeah.
I know there's talk of Sam McCallum coming back to the club, which is a bit of a weird.
Well, apparently was some rumours this afternoon, wasn't there, that Sam McCallum may come back on loan. But does he get in the team? Yeah.
Absolutely
I mean,
not.
It's easy to say. I mean, I may get shot down for this, but McCallum, for me, once he made the change to Norwich, was fairly negative, actually, in his way. He seemed to turn backwards a lot. He seemed to go backwards. Didn't seem to be taking players on like he perhaps was. And look, Sam McCallum was an extremely good player for the Sky Blues in the title-winning season, but Giles seems to have clicked in the way that he was getting forward before. He was getting, and his pace, of course, is a massive attribute, but he's now sort of, that final ball seems to be improving week on week. And he
Go on, carry on.
No, and he just seems really confident to me, and I think that that is a real massive plus for the Sky Blues, because the left-hand side did look a little bit shaky going into the season, and I think I alluded to the fact that we might need to bring in a left-sided player, but I must admit, I take my hat off to Giles tonight. He was superb.
You talk about him getting in those positions. It's okay getting in those positions. It's the final ball. It's the pass.
Of course.
It's what he does with that pass at the end of the day in that final third area of the pitch. And outstanding tonight. Outstanding. I mean, 3 or 4 times he was in great positions and he made the right call. The right decision.
Yeah, exactly.
At the right time.
And his opposite wasn't too bad tonight, Dean, was he?
No, I mean, first half he wasn't really in the game, and you looked at Sky put up the graphic of the average positions, and he was just sort of secluded on that right-hand side of the pitch in his own half, and he wasn't getting forward at all. I mean, there was no out ball to the right-hand side of that.
Do you think that's just from the fact that we've set up this season? I feel we've been a bit more left-sided because we didn't have a solid right option. I know Pask did a brilliant job there, but where we didn't have that solid right option get-out ball like we perhaps had with Dabo in the season previous, do you think that may have affected the team slightly, that they've been more, leaning towards the left-hand side?
I think it's probably the link-up play between O'Hare and Giles, which
of
gives
course,
that option, because your out ball generally is from your two central midfielders into one of those guys, and it tends to be O'Hare because you know about his close control, and then his off pass from there is generally Giles. So I think the link-up play and understanding those two have got sort of secludes the right-hand side of the pitch a little bit, but I mean Dabo showed tonight what a world-class operator he is. I mean he's made for this division.
Of course he is,
space, he's going to get time. His technical ability is second to none. I mean, you saw from the goal. I mean, look at the close control. There was 3 players around him.
Yeah.
All 3 of them went in different directions as soon as he turned on the ball. I mean,
and they seemed to sit off him a little bit today because they were so frightened of the pace, so frightened that he may get in behind them, that it seemed to, it seemed to give him even more time, I think, to plan what he was going to do. And when he was running at players, it was scary, wasn't it? They were backing off and backing him off. And every time he had the ball, you felt that something would happen. Sky Blues fans, please do get in touch with us on Sky Blues Extra Live this evening. As we've mentioned already, QPR 2, but the Sky Blues more importantly 3 goals. We've had a comment already in there from Glenn. Plenty of positives again. Even if we'd only drawn, I'd have been happy with a potential, but we are showing, not sure what we're showing, Glenn. Please reply back to us, but we are showing, I think, if I want to finish Glenn's sentence, I think it is that we're showing that we are more than capable to compete in this championship level. Yeah, and I really think so.
Let's not forget QPR are probably one of the teams in this division that are probably going to be ending up at the wrong side of the table.
Yeah, of course.
They're probably going to be in and around us.
All right, Dean. Look, we're all.
I am happy. Of course, I'm happy. Oh, Siri's going off on a wild one on my phone. But yeah. I mean, there's so many positives to take away from tonight. You know, the defence looks sharp again, very strong. Ostigard looks an absolute find. Fads was out of position. Okay, the first half, the whole team looked nervous. We lacked a little bit of spirit. You know, we sat.
But was that not both sides? The game had that sort of feel, did it not? The first half, the game had that sort of feel where someone could make a mistake, or everyone was a little bit tentative, a little bit nervous. But it's interesting what you say there about QPR. But let's not forget, this is a team that have been between the top 2 divisions of English football, and of course are very much grounded in the Championship, and doesn't look like a side that will go anywhere. We don't know at the end of the season, and we can revisit that, but they are a team that have been hanging around that sort of level of football for a long time, and tonight we more than matched them, didn't we?
Oh yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, they are a well-established Championship side. But that's, I mean, for me, it's just earmarking teams that we're going to be up against in that lower end of division. QPR, but I mean, they look sharp in that first half. They look really good. And I spoke on the pod about their 2 threats, Ilya Sher and Asaya Samuel. And Asaya Samuel just had the whole of that right hand side in that first half, and looked the threat every time he got the ball. Okay, there's a couple of half-hearted shots that Morosi didn't have much to deal with. But every time he got the ball, players were backing off him, and we looked scared. And their wing-backs, their full-backs were playing as wing-backs at times because we had no out-ball. Yeah. So, you know, that's the sort of setup we're going to find ourselves coming up against a lot during this season, where we're going to have no out-ball. So it's just all guns to the deck as such, and just see what we can come out with. And, you know, we stuck in there, got the goal, which is more than we deserved. I mean, I don't think we deserved to go in at half-time 1-0 down, that's for sure. Got that goal, and then from there was only one team in it from that point.
Yeah, exactly. And Sky Blues fans, it would be very interesting to hear from you about who you think your man of the match was. We've already had a lot of comments on Twitter page already saying who they believe would be the man of the match this evening. But yeah, do send in your comments. We'd love to know who you think was the man of the match, because I think it was between so many players, Dean, this evening. There was some brilliant performances. Giles, we've already highlighted. Amer, again, he controlled the middle of the park for a big, large part of the game. And there was no silly kicks or flicks or any of that sort of aggression that he's shown in the opening. I wish he had,
because they would have won me 250 quid.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I'm sitting here at the same time, unfortunately, ruining Amer not kicking someone. But at the same time, we're going to need him to do that. And it seems that Robins has probably had a word with him and said that isn't going to be able to happen going forward this season.
He got a foothold in that game in the second half, didn't he? He he found a little pocket of space. Shipley pushed on a little bit, which gave him a little bit more space then to play into. He showed his class. Some of the passes from left to right, he was influential in sort of switching the play this evening as well when we needed it that second half. He just looks an absolute quality purchase. And it's a bit of give and take with Amer, I think. There's going to be times where he's going to get stuck in. You're going to go, oh God, don't get yourself booked or red carded here. But there's going to be times like tonight where he didn't really put a foot wrong, in my opinion.
No, he didn't. And there's times when he was sort of, I think the game bypassed the midfield at quite a large proportion of today's game. But when he did get his foot on the ball, you could see again that he makes things happen, couldn't you?
Absolutely. He is a star man in our team. That's
of course.
And he's going to get a lot of plaudits this season. Sky even picked up on him before the game as one of the key guys to look at. So, he's one to look out for sure. James Hawker here. It's pronounced Hamer, boys. It's actually pronounced Amer. He's Brazilian. It's Brazilian descent.
I think we're gonna have to get someone to find. We're gonna have to get a Brazilian speaking. Would it be Portuguese actually? Wouldn't it?
I've got a Brazilian friend at work who told me it would be pronounced Amer.
We've gone from it ever since. We trust you, Dean. We're fully behind you of your Portuguese know-how. The closest I've been is Nando's to Portugal. So
what spice do you go, Dave?
Unfortunately, medium.
No, that's the end of this broadcast, ladies and gentlemen. Dave's gone. Cut him off, guys.
But we've not had many comments this evening. I'm sure everyone is enjoying what was a magnificent performance. But have we got any of the? If we bring up the starting lineup, do we have that, Dean, at all this evening?
Lineup. Here it is. Here we go.
So let's just have a look at what Mark Robins did this evening. He obviously brought Fankety Dabo back in, which looks an absolute. It was interesting whether he would come in today. I think after Tuesday night, and whether that would be a little bit too much. But then the point is you're never really going to bring a wing back off. So you're either got to start with him or possibly not. Not have him featured at all. And Shipley came in. Yeah, of course, and he looked solid on Tuesday, and got a good performance in there, and he's obviously continued that, and like you say, he's got a great engine up and down the pitch, and tonight he didn't stop, did he? And again, it showed just how, again, I think fitness and physical makeup is a big part of playing at a high level, and he showed that he's got that in abundance.
Absolutely. This lineup isn't going to differentiate too much during the season.
No.
The things that are going to probably change are the central midfielders. You think Sheaf, Kelly, Shipley will probably
on a bit of a rotation, yeah.
And maybe McFadzean will drop out for Rose. But there's question marks whether Rose would play on the right-hand side of that three in the back as well because of his good passing. But Ostergaard showed he can play that side. He's got a good range of passing too. So that's a headache for Mark Robins. And then it's question marks over Godden, but he's scoring goals. Who said he could?
Yeah, exactly that.
2-2.
Yeah, exactly. And Shipley there, obviously in for Kelly. What do we think of Shipley's performance tonight, Dean?
I just don't feel like that's his best position, personally.
You think he preferred to be further forward?
Yeah, maybe in that Allen role, potentially. It could also give you a little bit more physicality up the top third of the pitch. But yeah, Shipley just doesn't do enough for me with his range of passing going forward. He kind of likes to turn back at himself, and there was a couple of times this evening he could have turned on the ball a bit better and played the ball through lines into Allen and O'Hare, but he decided to go to the wing backs or to the centre half. So that's a question mark for me with Shipley, but he's going to give 110%. You know what we're going to get with Jordan Shipley. He's a Coventry kid. He's going to give us 110%. So, but yeah, again, a bit like last week, Dave. I can't really fault a player. There was no bad performances.
No.
There were some great performances this evening, and there were some good performances last week. but there's been no bad performances from anybody in those 2 games.
No, I agree. No one's had a shocker at all. And coming on to that, I'm sure, into the first half of the game, there would have been some people screaming at the TV, probably more so at Stephen Martin, the referee. Was that a penalty, Dean?
I probably think the steroid injections had gone to his head at that point. It was very harsh, wasn't it? Big lad. Oh, big fella. Definitely had a good lockdown. But penalty, not so sure for me. Both seemed to sort of tap the ball at the same time. But
they were both. It was going the same way. Yeah. And I know, I hate to say this because I don't know. The rules have changed so much throughout the years. But he was going away from goal. He was right on the edge of the box, just inside the area. Both players were going the same way. Like you said, they both sort of went for the ball at the same time. And if it wasn't, the striker that kicked the ball away, it would have been McFadzean in the same direction. And would you put money on him keeping that even in play, let alone, making a goal-scoring opportunity out of it? And to me, it just felt like it was going away from the goal and that there was no danger. And therefore, actually, and he whether he went down easy, I don't think he did. I think they both tripped. It was a bit of a clamber, and they both tripped. But I think it was a harsh penalty, but very well put away. To be fair.
Yeah, I mean that's twice. That's 2.
You don't stop them.
He's had in 2 weeks now, Dykes, and he's put them away really well. But once again, we've given the referee a decision to make.
Yeah, and you could have stood him up.
The same.
Yeah.
Just don't do stupid things in and around your own penalty box.
Yeah, I agree. Could have just stood him up.
Yeah, I mean,
get goal side, stand him up, and
this is about O'Hare. How is this not a penalty?
Yeah, no, I agree. Daz has made an extremely good point there, and you usually expect a referee to even them up,
regardless of where the ball has gone and if there's going to be an offside. That doesn't matter. The ball is in that phase of coming towards the goal, so anybody in front of that play is now an active player under the rules. So. It's 100%. If VAR it was in the Championship, it's a penalty all day long. But,
of course.
We don't have that capability in the Championship as of yet. So, but yeah, I mean, how the referee or the assistant doesn't see that? I mean, the assistant's not even blindsided.
No.
So he should pick that up. I mean, that was poor officiating for me.
100%. And let's talk about Matty Godden. Again, as you mentioned earlier on, another goal.
Yeah.
2-2. An extremely great header, back post, and great build-up players as well. But he knows where the goal is, and he's given Mark Robins an extremely difficult decision to bring his new signing into the fold, isn't he?
It doesn't get in. As simple as that. I mean, Godden's got the shirt from last season. He deserves his place. He got us to the Championship, and he deserves his place in the team whilst we're in the Championship. And until he stops scoring goals, he doesn't come out the team. But that goal was absolutely fantastic. That was the one time we got on the ball. First time we were brave in that first half, push forward and score from it. Alan, really nice move through the lines, played Giles in. What a great ball across the box. And Matty Godden, his movement was absolutely astounding. How he peeled off the defender. Defender didn't even know where he was.
Yeah.
And then to head the ball down, I think
downwards and give the goalkeeper had no chance. Yeah,
and that's the perfect thing to do in that position. Your keeper's coming back across his goal. He's going to be sort of flat-footed. So that's perfect. We've got a guest.
Brilliant.
Should we bring Nick in?
I think we should bring Nick in. Nick's a bit of a regular, actually, and a bit of a London Sky Blues legend. So let's bring Nick in and see what he had to say about this evening's game. Nick, what did you think of today's match?
You all right, guys? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you loud and clear.
Brilliant. I thought today, first half was a little bit tetchy. I thought we were both trying to find each other out for quite a while. We didn't really get in the flow at all. We gave them a lot of the ball. It kind of reminded me last week of kind of when we had a lot of the ball away at Bristol City last week. We just let them have too much of it, and we didn't put any pressure on them in the first half. I couldn't really remember a first shot. But second half was...
We're a bit fragile in possession, Nick. When we got the ball, we sort of lose the ball straight away, didn't we?
Yeah, 100%. I think we were a little bit scared to do anything kind of adventurous today. We were quite scared to try and do anything that we weren't meant to do. It was quite a frantic start, I thought, but
no one wanted to make a mistake.
Second half, we just played with a lot more freedom. I think he obviously gave him a bit of a rollicking at half time and kind of said, "Come on, like we know what you can do," sort of thing.
Yeah.
And second half was totally different. First half, we hardly had any, like in terms of like the ball, we didn't create anything in the first half, and that's not how we play, especially at home. Well, I say home, but in Birmingham, but like that's not how we normally play. So I think first half was a little bit tetchy. We were a little bit nervous. Second half, we played a lot more of the football we're all used to and we're all used to seeing.
Yeah, and was there a player that was a standout for you, Nick, this evening?
I think considering he's been out for so long, I think Dabo to come in and play as he did, especially second half, the way he pushed forward and like his, I think he grew in confidence second half, especially like he realised he had more freedom to roam in the second half. I think that was brilliant, and he pushed on more and more. I think Godden
Cox agrees with you. We've got a comment there from Dabo being allowed to push on more was the catalyst to that win. But I think also, Nick, I don't know if you agree, and Dean also, is that Dabo on the right-hand side, it evened up that left. So actually, we wasn't playing to just one side, and I think that probably bamboozled QPR a little bit, whereas we had that pace down both flanks, and therefore they didn't really know where they were going to go, whereas I think previously at Bristol City we were a little bit more one-sided.
It suffocated their fullbacks, basically, because if you look at that first half, their fullbacks were pretty much playing as wing-backs, as I noted before, and they were so far ahead of the play. Whereas in the second half, because Dabo was pushing on, it gave them something else to think about. So it gave us way more space. And that pushes everybody out. I mean, Amos probably had 2 touches before he got subbed off.
Yeah.
And that first half, he was the guy sort of linking the play up between the final third. So it suffocated them massively by allowing Dabo a bit more space, a bit more freedom to push on. So that was brilliant by Mark Robins.
Yeah, and I think.
And what did you think about the goals that we conceded, Nick? Do you think, because obviously it's become a bit of a thing from set pieces now, is that something you're concerned about, or do you think it's just that step up in level, or is there any concerns there for you?
Yeah, I think especially the second goal, I think it kind of was a carbon copy of last week. I think to leave a man unmarked at the far post is just. Especially
and
this
2
level.
Players went for the ball, didn't they? Dabo, I can't remember who the other player was.
It was Dabo and I'm pretty sure it was Shipley again, but like there's just no need to kind of like. There's a player at the back post. Everyone should be aware. It kind of looked to me as if it was zonal marking.
Yeah, we talked about.
Doesn't really work, especially at this level. We kind of left the player back post.
Yeah, so let's get a vote on zonal marking then, Dean.
Absolutely not. No, I mean it's let us down once again.
No, like you could do a mix. You could do a mix, have certain players in a zonal and do other players that are man marking. So that's what I used to do on Football Manager anyway. But
and did you get Coventry City promoted, Nick?
Yeah, well, once or twice, but
Okay.
But yeah, I just think it's a little bit worrying. I think if it carries on, then it's obviously something they've got to address. But I think we've all got belief in Mark Robins, and we kind of know he'll kind of pick up on that and turn that around.
McFadzean this evening, hero to sort of, 0 to hero. What did you make of his performance?
I thought the defence was really assured for a lot of the night. I think the penalty was a little bit soft. You could see he was playing the ball. He got a bit of the ball. In today's day and age, probably a penalty. But to come back and like powering that header as he did, that big head of his, brilliant.
I think we should talk about the quality now we've got from set pieces and corners. I mean, Dave's saying we've got a great set piece taker in Amer, but I mean, before Fad scores, there was 2 brilliant balls into the box from the same side, the same corner. Hyam, and was it Fads before that as well?
Where he had that free header. He had a free header.
Yeah,
3 headers.
Sort of leaning back and dropping down at the same time. So it was a difficult chance. But a man of his quality should be doing better from there. But the goal, I mean, what great build-up to get the corner in the first place.
Yeah,
of course.
And then a quality ball, and what a header. I mean, you're not stopping that. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
You're not stopping that header.
for me, what's really sad is the fact that we weren't there to see that. I think, can you imagine a stadium tonight if that would have gone in? I think it would have been rocking. And I think also a Friday night, our first home game, would have been rocking all night. The way we were playing, especially second half as well, the fans would have got right behind us. Can you imagine if we'd scored that third goal tonight? I think that's really what we've got to look on. Like, I think brilliant we got our first win, brilliant we got our first championship win, but getting the fans back in the ground, essentially.
Great to see the Blues fans have turned allegiance instead of being Sky Blue fans.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some questionable sized heads on in the crowds this evening. But Nick, Sky Blues season tickets obviously went on sale quite some time ago. They've now moved across to general sale. I think we're nearing the 3,500. We've had some test events that are planned for this week. We know there's been some negative news in recent times about potential lockdown curfews and whatnot. But is that something that is that something you're looking forward to, as many Sky Blues fans as possible, obviously socially distanced, but go back to St Andrews? Do you think that's possible? Do you think that's something that we can do?
100%. I mean, if you go to pubs and you can do a lot of the things that the government are allowing us to do, why can't we be at the football? I mean, you can stagger in people getting through the turnstiles, and we're out in the open air watching the football. I think as long as we're in our six people bubble that we get told to do nowadays, I think there's no reason why we can't be there. And I think to stop clubs, not just us, but other clubs being in financial difficulty, I think it's got to happen. And it must happen as well. Because tonight was brilliant. Tonight was brilliant. Like, I watched it with a group of mates. It was brilliant watching that. But I think going forward, nothing beats being there.
No, of course.
And I think that's got to be the aim going forward.
Yeah, it felt again. It felt a bit lifeless, didn't it? The whatever the noise they call it, but it sounds, straight from a record from EA Sports or whatnot. It just sounds a little bit.
We're not playing FIFA,
No,
we want to be there.
No, exactly. Any final thoughts, Nick, for this evening? Anything you'd like to share with the Sky Blues Extra viewers at home? Anyone that is perhaps a standout, or your man of the match, or any sort of last comments?
Look, I think Godden has taken a step up. I think people before the last couple of games might have questioned whether he could do it in the Championship. Well, he's got 2 goals and 2, so he is doing that. I think Amer, which I believe we call him now, he looks a class. He looks a class above the rest. So I think there's a lot to be optimistic about. We've got our first win, and I think going forward, I think we've got a lot to be optimistic about. Beat Barnsley next week and pretty much already in the Premier League, aren't we?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, you heard it here from Nick. He thinks we're already in the Premiership. Sky Blues fans, it would be great to hear some more comments from you. Don't forget to drop us a comment. You can do that by tweeting us at SkyBluesExtra Live, or you can do it in the chat on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. And you can actually join us on air if you wish to. Come in, just as Nick has this evening. Come and share your thoughts with us and share your thoughts with other Sky Blues Extra listeners. Dean, have we got any stats from this evening's games just to show the viewers at home how that game sort of panned out? It was a real cat and mouse game, wasn't it, in the end? And the main score that matters obviously is Coventry City 3 and QPR 2, but some interesting stats there, Dean, especially possession wise.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably skewed a bit from that first half. We were under cosh, weren't we, for pretty much 44 minutes of it, really. The one for me that stands out is the attempts there. I mean, it's okay having QPR having 64% possession, but there was 4 less attempts than us.
Yeah, and they were limited, weren't they, for shots from outside the box, it felt. I mean, we did really pack that sort of back line, didn't we? At times they were really restricted, I felt, to have sort of long-range shots. Yeah,
lots of offsides again as well. That's I think that's going to happen though from the way we play in that final.
Yeah,
because we're always playing off the shoulder, so you're always going to get that. There was that one opportunity. Was it Godden went through?
Yeah,
it was probably just about
marginal, wasn't it?
Yeah, about a
marginal.
Second off.
And a great finish. The keeper may well have stopped and all being so, but as you say, he plays off that shoulder. I've said it before, and I think that it's good. It's a good news story that he's perhaps, because, okay, 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, he may be offside. But that one, if he's through 1-on-1, Godden's going to score, isn't he?
He's always active and always on the move, and we've seen he can finish, especially in the one-on-one opportunities. I mean, you look at maybe Tuesday night, if he had one of those one-on-ones, at least one of them's going to go in, that's for sure. So yeah, I mean, he's probably going to convert a lot of will make a lot of chances this season. And it's just down to him converting them. But so far, so good. I just want to bring your attention to this comment Josh has made, Dave. This is although we can't see us now, but
that's all right. That's probably better.
It's about Alan, and even last season he was getting bullied off the ball, and it was the same today. Interested to know what we think of Jamie Allen.
Bring that back up a minute, Dean, just so I can read that in full. So standout performance from Ostergaard. Yeah, absolutely solid. Looks an absolute massive fit. I think it's probably McFadzean that's in the possible firing line, albeit a hero this evening. It seems to me that that's a solid back line now, and it's probably only McFadzean sort of jostling for that with Rose. Amer, we've mentioned about. Dabo gave us another huge lift on the right-hand side. O'Hare, proving why he gets the highest wage. He's just a very comfortable player, isn't he? But slightly puzzled around the hype round Allen. Even last season, he was bullied off the ball. It was the same today. Interested to know what we think. I'm a massive fan of Allen, to be honest. I remember going to MK Dons on an evening game. I think it must have been the Carabao Cup last season. It may as well have been behind closed doors, if I'm honest. But that night, Allen, to me, he's great in attack. He's got brilliant feet. He can spot a pass, but he also gives us a bit of a defensive edge for me. He's a bit of a terrier-style player and doesn't give up. And I think that I actually felt that when he dropped out of the team last season, we missed that bite. We missed that pressure. We missed that closing down in the middle of the park. I didn't feel that we were as sharp. I'm a massive Allen fan and actually felt that he played really, really well again tonight, just by the fact that he's just so busy and he's so on the opponents. What's your thoughts, Dean?
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much echo what you said there. Yeah, Allen was everywhere tonight. I mean, he is going to give 110%. A bit like the Mulder Shipley in that way. He is the terrier. He's not the guy who's going to pull out the 40-yard spectacular or take on 3 players and do the absolute, skill from like Messi type skill.
Yeah.
But what he's going to do is going to give you a little bit of a presence up front.
Yeah.
Because O'Hare can't do all the chasing down. So
no.
Allen's got to step in there and do that, and he's tenacious, isn't he?
He is. It's the best word to describe him. Like, he just doesn't seem to stop. And to me, like, I've seen it so many times where he's perhaps overrun a ball or lost a ball, and a 50-50 turns into his favour because of his sheer... I think he's very quick, especially from a sort of standing start position. He's maybe at top speed, he's not so quick, but that sort of 50, 30, 40-yard burst... He's really, really fast, and I think he gives us a massive presence.
He's going to force defenders into making a mistake.
Yeah.
And if we can get the ball from that, it's going to give us an opportunity, especially in that final third. I mean, most teams in this division play 3 at the back.
Yeah.
So if Allen can force a mistake out of one of those centre halves, then we've got a great opportunity in the final third. And if you play the ball into O'Hare and you get the runners coming off, then we're going to make more opportunities from that. And you need someone like that. I mean, that's probably what QPR lacked tonight.
Yeah,
they didn't have anybody who was, pulling on the last man of the defence.
Just bringing that team sheet up, Dean. Just because it'd be interesting to go back to that point. If he comes out, who comes in?
Yeah, I mean, Shipley's not going to give you that up there. He's not gonna do all the running. So, do you go 2 up top then and put Walker in there and let O'Hare?
Well, exactly, and then that totally changes one, the way we play, one, the way that Mark Robins seems to have a preferred lineup. Those 2 guys, when you look at that there, O'Hare and Allen, they're just so busy and they play intricate passes. I actually think Allen's got great feet. And he spots the pass. And don't forget, he can finish as well. We saw that. Was it Bristol Rovers away last season? Very instinctive. Very instinctive finish. And I think that he'll show that. So hopefully that answers your question, completely agree with his thoughts on O'Hare, Dabo, of course, and Godden. But yeah, I think for Alan, yeah, he probably is going to get knocked about a little bit. He's not the biggest. Yeah, no, exactly. And he's probably not the biggest, and he will get knocked about from game to game, but it doesn't seem to bother him, and therefore shouldn't really bother us.
This is something that didn't happen again tonight, and I questioned it on this week's podcast. Sometimes I do have reservations. Probably the only reservation I have with Mark Robins is the timing of his substitutions.
Yeah, and can he change a game?
For me, there wasn't really an opportunity to change the game this evening. It didn't really warrant the opportunity to change the game.
There wasn't anyone really flagging either, was there? Whether that was because both sides could feel perhaps another goal in it, and almost cursed the commentator. I heard them say that was there was a goal coming, so that was a good omen. But I think you're right. It seemed like a difficult time to make a substitution, but at the same time, watching it where I was, there was some comments around to say perhaps now's the time to make that change at 2-2, and we didn't. But I don't know what that would have looked like. Godden looked like a constant threat. Dabo wasn't, blowing at all after you would have expected coming back from a long absence. Perhaps would he have been given way? But I don't think Robins would have started him, as I mentioned earlier, if he didn't think he could finish the whole game. It was interesting, wasn't it? Sheaf would have been a bit of a negative or more. And it would have been hard, wouldn't it, to be a player coming on to a game of that sort of hanging in the balance?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we just had a guest, but Jerry's disappeared. Jerry, come back. Come and chat to us. Here he is, Jerry. Jerry, here you come. How you doing, Jerry?
All right, guys.
Hi, Jerry. How are you?
Yeah, brilliant tonight. Really pleased with that.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, fantastic. To say, I think over both games we've played so far, clearly proved that we can compete in that top half of the championship, I think.
So you got us pushing for the playoffs then?
Wow, I don't think we're far off. I genuinely say, last week...
we may well have lost Joey, but he's... Come
back, Joey. Come back to us.
I'm back.
He's back. He's paid his
There you
bill.
go. Yeah, as I say, over the two games, as I say, clearly not been fazed by the step up. And as I say, last week should have won, in my opinion, and tonight deservedly won. It's great to see players like Dabo just stepping up comfortably. You'd never believe that he's been out for a few months. So, yeah, I'm really pleased tonight.
Was you surprised to see him in that starting lineup this evening, especially after 90 minutes on Tuesday? Oh,
definitely, yeah. As I say, the moment he was in that starting 11 on Tuesday, I thought, yeah, no chance he's going to be playing this week. I thought at least another week or two away. But I think you see with how composed he is on the ball and how good he is going forward, he really made a difference down that right tonight.
It seems that Barnsley's come at a good time. It's the team that we probably should be trying to pick up some points against, and buoyed by this evening's result, Joey. Next week, you'd have to say that, Barnsley would be a fixture that you'd be thinking, can we get something from? Is that something you'd be thinking as well? Have we lost him again?
Maybe we'll never know what Joey.
We'll never know what Joey thinks about Barnsley's game next week.
If you look back at our fixtures at the start of the season, we said we could pick up 5 points in these first 3 games.
Yeah.
What a great start it would be. We've got an opportunity now for 6 points. And
yeah, exactly.
We beat Barnsley?
Yeah, no, I agree. And we did say that, didn't we? We probably deserve to pick something up against Bristol City, who I don't think either of us probably gave us much of a hope looking at the fixture list. You were saying that QPR are probably going to be one of the teams that we had a good chance against, and that's proved correct, Dean. We've beat QPR 3-2 this evening, and next week we play Barnsley, who you'd expect to be in and around that sort of lower part of the division again. It seems, have we got Joey back, or is he's?
I'm on, yeah.
Oh, great! You've topped up again, have you? Your credit.
Yeah, so Barnsley next week, Jerry. What are your thoughts on that? It's probably a team we need to be looking to pick up 3 points against for sure. One of the teams in and around us in a potential relegation battle, although you don't see it that way. So what's your thoughts?
Yeah,
what's your thoughts ahead of that?
Yeah, I think after tonight we've got to go into that game with confidence, and I think over the 2 games we've proven we can step up. So, but we've got to go for the 3 points. It's games like that we've got to go for, because there will be some far more tough games.
Of course. Yeah,
and
the Norwiches and whatnot. There's some really scary games coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, and so games against Barnsley, and again, like tonight, we've got to try and get as many points as possible on the board as soon as possible. And then you get to a stage where you're thinking, okay, survival, fine. How high can you go?
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? That's got to be the first aim, and get those points on the board. Try and get that, safety if you can. I think the magic number is probably going to be around 45, perhaps, points. You'd probably expect that to be. It'd be interesting to see again how Sheffield Wednesday get on tomorrow, because that's a result that we'll be looking out for most weeks, I'd imagine. But Joey, was there anyone for you this evening that perhaps didn't, or over the 2 games is an area that you're concerned about, or like me and Dean, are you quite comfortable that all players have sort of made that step up well?
I think Shipley, I absolutely love the bloke, but I think, as I say, 2 divisions in 3 years to jump up. It will take him time, but I think we can't expect him to be starting every week. But I do think by the end of the season, he might have made a step up. But I think his first touch sometimes, he always has to think about it, whereas O'Hare, it's natural straight away.
Yeah, and especially with Amir, O'Hare, even Alan, we've just spoke about.
And I think in such an important role in that middle, and against some really good central midfielders in the Championship, we need to be sharp in there. So and almost need a bit more experience. I think Kelly will probably come back in when he's fit, or even Sheaf. That's not to say to get rid of Shipley, because, as I say, he's clearly got an eye for a goal, as we saw last season. He's a Coventry lad, tries his hardest, and
squad rotation is going to be important this season, isn't it? It's a marathon of games, so squad rotation is going to be important, and he's not looked completely out of place. Is there McFadzean is also, he's always, a sort of bone of contention on Twitter and Facebook, and especially on our channel. A lot of people for and against. With yourself, how do you feel about McFadzean? Gave away a penalty this evening, albeit maybe a bit harsh, and then obviously secured 3 points with a fantastic header.
Well, I think he's a little bit older, and again, experience he's needed in there. And I think the one thing that I think a lot of us have wanted is for him to do better in the opposition box. And tonight he's proved he can do it. Robbins has said it plenty of times that he's scored goals for his previous clubs, and he proves tonight he can do that. That's what I think we need is somebody in the back, when you've got 3 centre halves, to try and get a header to score a goal like that tonight. But again, it's a big step up for him. I know he's played there before, and he's not the most technically gifted player, but he's a bit of a leader at the back. And when you've got younger lads like Rose and Hyam, and even Ostigard, you almost need an older head at the back there. Even Morosi, he's not experienced at this level necessarily. So I think we need him in there. But it's going to be competitive at the back, because even players like Drysdale are going to be banging on the door. So I think that's the beauty of having a big squad, is that there's going to be players that are knocking on the door in every position, who are desperate to get in that first team. It's the same with Godden. We've seen tonight him getting another goal. Yeah, he knows that there's 3 strikers there. Biamu scored midweek. You got Walker, the big money signing, and Bakayoko's worked hard. They're desperate to get in that first team, and it keeps players on their toes. So.
Yeah, and I think they all know, don't they, that Robbins is that one up top. Sorry, Dean, but they all know that there's that sort of one position they're jostling for.
But we're going to need everybody to come to the fold at some point during this season. I mean, you mentioned Jordan Shipley. There's going to be times where we're going to need his tenaciousness and battle in the middle of the park against some of the teams that are going to come at us hard and be in our face. So he's going to get his opportunity to shine at some point. But there are some games where he's not going to play, and we don't need him to play. But everyone's going to get an opportunity this season at some point. So it's about these guys taking those opportunities when they arise. And look at Matty Godden. He's taken his opportunity 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, of course. Joey, just before we let you go this evening, who would be your man of the match against QPR this evening?
Oh, it's got to be Callum O'Hare for me. And it's so exciting knowing you've got a player that young, that gifted in the Championship. Yeah. And you see the likes of Ollie Watkins going for 25, 30 million.
Yeah.
I know I've had a few to drink tonight, but you've got to think how much could he go for by the end of the season if he performs like that tonight? Clearly finding this level comfortable, you've got to think, who knows, or how much could he go for in the future? It's so exciting to see players like that. And again, the other player as well is Hamer as well, or Amer, as you guys call him. Absolutely brilliant again, comfortable in that midfield.
Yeah, bossed it, didn't he? Own the midfield again, and it looks to me that he's going to make so many things happen. And as the season progresses, I think, like you say, at the end of the season, there could be quite a few players that, O'Hare on a free, Amer not terribly expensive for what they potentially may be worth come the end of the season, should the powers that be decide to move them players on. But that would all be for us to see, and we hope that we can stay in the Championship and we keep hold of those players. It will be key, but at the same time, you can see that they're really going to be worth some money going forward. Brilliant. Thank you ever so much for coming on, Joey. Really appreciate it. Have we got any more comments, Dean, just before we sort of wrap it up for this evening, on a night where Coventry City have, of course, recorded their first win in the Championship this season? Very unlucky against Bristol City at Ashton Gate, going down 2-1. But they've won this evening, a great performance. And I think QR Taylor there, Dabo is my right back, fire emojis. I have to agree there. Dabo was fantastic again this evening. O'Hare, man of the match. I think that will be a common theme throughout the season, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, he's just honestly, he's just world class. World class. We're gonna have a real strange opportunity at the end of the season where I would say opportunity, but maybe a problem actually is probably the better word, where we're probably gonna have O'Hare and Amer getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, I agree, and yeah, all remains to be seen. If we're battling up there, I think it's going to remain to be seen of what will happen with that. But it definitely seems that Mark Robins once again, with the likes of how he's brought other players on, it's shrewd. We've just seen Callum Wilson go to Newcastle, and in my opinion, probably could have gone for more money. Perhaps if the time was better, the demand was perhaps there. But we've seen that he's a player that came through the ranks. James Maddison, of course, and it looks like there's a whole host of players that could follow in their footsteps. You've got even players like Drysdale that look to be very comfortable moving forward. Amer, O'Hare. There's lots of players there. But before we sort of go, Dean, any sort of last thoughts from yourself?
Yeah, I saw a lot of fans probably getting on the guys' backs first half because it wasn't very good. I mean, it's probably just not needed really because it's the second game of the season and it's a new league and it's very different the way teams play in this division. So once again, we just don't get on the team's back as much as we are. And we show we're a quality footballing side that second half. We scored some really good goals, made some really good opportunities. It's going to be exciting. There's going to be times where it's going to be a little bit backs against the ropes a little bit, but there's going to be times where we go forward with absolute fluidity and we create chance after chance. But I'm just excited for the rest of the season. Like I said to you before we came on, I wasn't nervous tonight.
No,
I get quite nervous, especially when we go 1-0 down.
I said exactly the same.
God, here we go.
But
I just feel like there's just confidence running through the veins of this team.
Yeah.
And there's a never say die attitude. They never know when the game is lost. A bit like the song. So, let's just keep going. Let's see what we can achieve. If we end up at the top end half of the division, fantastic. I don't think we will. But let's just see how far it can go. Because it's an exciting time for once to be a Coventry City fan.
Yeah,
let's
exactly.
Enjoy it and let's embrace it.
Indeed. Well, that's all we've got time for this evening. Do make sure you listen to our podcast. That will be coming out on Monday, where we'll do a full review, obviously, of the QPR game. And we'll also look forward to our next fixture, which is Barnsley, a game that a lot of us would feel that we'd like to catch some points and another win there for the Sky Blues. But we're leaving this evening, with a Sky Blues win 3-2 at home at St Andrews against QPR in the Championship.
Play up Sky Blues. Go the City.